I just want to start to say I am actually incredibly inspired by the speakers we've listened to this morning, and I hope you are as well. They're very, very energizing. I joined the school system 20 years ago in Cumberland County, and I've been fortunate to have a variety of roles. I started as the project accounting manager for new construction, which always makes people curious as to how did you go from new construction to child nutrition? Well, I enjoy to eat. But I truly have been blessed by enjoying a variety of roles in the school system. I started as the project accounting manager. I moved on to work directly with the school board members. I became the internal auditor, and I found my way I was recruited into director for child nutrition. I have to tell you, I've enjoyed every single one of them, but by far, I find child nutrition the most meaningful. In child nutrition, we nourish children. I mean, there's just no greater role than that in my mind and in my career. And far too often we find that, far more so than we care to imagine, and many people want to believe, there are children that experience food insecurity in our community. In Cumberland County, we have a 76.8% free and reduced lunch rate. That includes 56 of our schools are community eligibility provision schools. Among other nutrition priorities in Cumberland County, we are working on expanding our breakfast participation because, as Ms. Pittman said earlier, you cannot nourish the mind until the body is nourished. So we are very fortunate to have received one of the grants from the governor's office. This year, in our initial efforts to expand our breakfast after the bell models, we actually launched 7 full school-wide breakfast in the classroom programs. We added 2 existing grab-and-go programs by 4 schools, school-wide programs, and we have a combination in a couple of our schools. But critical to the success of those models, as well as our program in general, are our partnerships, and nothing's more so critical than starting with our school board and our school administrators. We're very fortunate that our school board and superintendent recognize that school nutrition provides a readily available resource to meeting a need that so many kids walk through the door, and that's hunger. Our school board and our superintendent support us in our program. They allow us to operate our program efficiently, effectively, void of their micromanagement, but saturated with the care for the children that we serve every day. Last year, when we were talking with No Kid Hungry about ways to launch our breakfast in the classroom programs, I approached our interim superintendent about it, and he was very, very supportive by immediately extending an offer to speak to our principals at a district-wide leadership program. I was like, great. I pick up the phone and call No Kid Hungry, and what do you think about this? And they're like, you need to talk to Jason Griffin. Jason graciously teleconferenced in with us to join me in the presentation, and as you all probably know, Jason is the 2017 North Carolina Principal of the Year. He and I together spoke to the principals. What an incredible perspective that from a principal's view of the value of these programs. And they listened to him more so than they listened to me. He was a wonderful partner. By the time I sat down at my seat, I had 3 emails from principals during the meeting saying, I want to start that program in my school. Great. I'm enthusiastic, but I need more than that. We've got 87 schools, and I've got 3. So we sent out literature talking about the benefits of the programs that so many schools have experienced it and implemented it or enjoying. And within a week's time, I had 16 principals expressing interest to participate. Now we're getting somewhere. So we launched into ways on what we need, the resources we needed to make this happen. Now, some of the principals changed out. So by the time school began this school year, we had 13 programs started. And that included a combination of the breakfast in the classroom and the grab and go, but they were all the innovative breakfast after the bell models. Now, we've met quite a bit of resistance. We had, first and foremost, teacher resistance, who did not want to participate. But we hung in there. And I will tell you, the more we hung in there, the more buy-in we got. Our principals' partnerships were reinforced as they started to experience their benefits in their schools. The teachers, as they started reaping their rewards in their individual classrooms, the resistance faded away. Not completely gone, we still have some we're working on, but it's fading away. Well into the school year, we met with the school improvement team. And I braced myself. I didn't know what kind of things were going to be thrown at me. And I went out of there with a huge smile on my face because what I heard from teachers was in huge enthusiasm. They were excited about the additional classroom time that they were getting, the instructional time they got in their individual classrooms, the improved attendance that they received. The principals started talking about reduced tardies. That was the first thing I heard. Calmer hallways in the morning. They really enjoyed that. You know, it's a nice start off to the day. So then, the next thing we experienced was we were excited to receive this grant from the governor's office. So we said it's time to go give an update to our school board. So we went to them and told them about the progress that we had made. We discussed with them, and I'm sorry, time. Okay, so we talked to them about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Our school board recognized that we have children coming to our schools hungry every day. We talked to them about how school nutrition is a readily available and underutilized resource to reduce a barrier to children learning, because when they come to school hungry, they cannot learn. We talked to them about, as they begin their efforts to update our district-wide strategic planning partner, school nutrition not only could, but should be a partner in education, and they agreed. So we were very excited about that. They're looking forward to us expanding our program, and they've introduced mechanisms to help get the word out, the success we're having in certain schools to our other schools, and we're hoping it will grow exponentially as we go. Since I'm running out of time, I'm going to cut to the conclusion of my comments and say, our strategic partners, the governor's office, our school administrators, our leadership at DPI, the Dairy Alliance, No Kid Hungry, and the teachers, it goes on and on. These are critical roles in battling child hunger. It's an impossible battle to win alone. It takes a village. And anytime I'm reminded, because the job can be challenging, as everybody in this position knows, but when I ask myself why I do what I do, I remember receiving an email from a principal at the end of last school year as she was writing her end-of-year report for our Fresh Fruits and Vegetables program. She recounted having heard a teacher ask a second grade student why he goes to school. Now, instantaneously, you have an answer in your head, don't you? You think he answered to learn. That's what everybody would expect him to answer. But the child's answer was to eat. And the principal closed out her email to me with this comment: when you consider the home environment to which many of our students go home, you realize that getting enough to eat is not a certainty. However, getting fed at school is. I love what I do.